and welcome to the third episode of Fan Theories. I'm your host, Emily Kelly, joined as ever my partner in all things, Peter Kuhn.
Hello. How is everybody today?
They can't hear you,
Well, they can hear me. They just can't respond to me, I suppose.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Carry on.
So today we're really excited about this episode because we get to talk about one of our favoriteest things in the entire galaxy, nay, the entire expanded universe, Mass Effect.
Oh, I'm so excited. It is my favoriteest for sure.
Mine too. We are really excited to do this podcast, mostly just because we love Mass Effect so much, but also because a new Mass Effect game is coming out.
Andromeda's about to drop
tomorrow. If you're listening to this right on time on Monday when this is dropping, tomorrow, or at least midnight tonight, we will be getting our hands on Andromeda.
Oh, yeah.
So exciting.
We've already pre-ordered. We are very much looking forward to playing. I mean, as soon as the music swells and you know you're in a Mass Effect game, the goosebumps hit. I am so excited. So excited. So we have a lot of fun and interesting theories from the fan universe. We're going to go ahead and get started talking with some of the main ones. Go ahead, Sweetie Pie.
Well, I first wanted to talk about, just to give the listeners a little background, because it was actually you who got me into Mass Effect in the first place.
This is true.
So how did you get into the series originally?
I played Dragon Age first, I believe. And then I heard about this wonderful, amazing sci-fi game. And I learned it was by the same people who did the Dragon Age game, which is BioWare. And as soon as I got it, became just enthralled. The universe just gobbled me up, and I loved it. I loved every single bit of the story, the music, the controls got better with the number 2 and number 3. I'm going to admit the controls for Mass Effect 1 maybe weren't the best, but they got better. But man, it just blew my mind. Mm-hmm.
So which of the 3 trilogy games, which is your favorite?
I would have to say number 2. For the time, I think it really changed my perception of what a game could be. It's not just a story that you follow along. It's something that you can change and something that is created by you as you play. It was really nice to get that, kind of like a relief to feel that.
Yeah. And I mean, just like you, funnily enough, from you, I played Dragon Age first and loved it. And they're obviously quite different, Dragon Age 1 to Mass Effect 1. But
yeah, you didn't like Mass Effect when you played it the first time.
Because I'm not really good at shooters. And even though it's a third-person shooter, I was just like, it was just not the type of game that I usually played. I'm not very accurate with aiming and that kind of stuff. But watching you play, I really wanted to go in the world and explore and meet these characters and like be a part of this. So it just, you kick it down to casual and you practice. And now, I mean, if I had not played Mass Effect, there was no way I would have ever gotten into games like Fallout or other first person RPG shooters.
Sure. Right.
So it's such a great game. Mass Effect 2 is definitely if not the best, one of the best games of all time. It's definitely one of my favorite games of all time, if not the favorite.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Being able to develop that relationship with your characters, with the crew, and then having that impact later on in the game, defending the universe. There's so many epic moments. It felt like a movie that you get to influence. It was, like I said, just so much fun.
Do you have a favorite character across the 3 games?
Tali. I'd have to say Tali Voss, Normandy, when she takes, when she's on our ship. Tali Voss Normandy is probably my favorite character.
She's so great. I love in Mass Effect 3 where spoilers if you haven't played Mass Effect 3, sorry, but you've had like 5 years. When we take back the Quarian homeworld for her and she can release her mask for the first time. Oh my God, just so and like an impact.
Definitely. And for longtime Mass Effect fans, if you played through, number 1, Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, and then, after, what was it? It was like maybe 3.5 years of having this character be behind a mask the entire time. And you always wonder, like, man, is she pretty under there? Nah, I bet she's nasty. I bet she looks so gross. All Koreans, I bet they look so gross. But no, they don't. They take off the mask and they look gorgeous. They're beautiful, almost ethereal even.
Mm-hmm.
So it was neat, very refreshing.
Like many fangirls, my favorite character is Garrus. Or I like to call him Gare Bear.
Gare Bear.
Gare Bear. Just because one, the voice is just, I mean, how can you not? And two, he's just like, romance or nah, he was one of the coolest, just smoothest, like badass characters in the whole game, like just sniping people and wisecracking, and he was so great.
And calculations, don't forget.
Oh, and the calibrations, all the calibrations.
Sorry, calibrations.
He had to calibrate a lot. Like I didn't even know a space gun needed that much calibration.
Oh, his gun do.
It does. All right, so
now we can get to some.
Now let's get into the theories.
All right.
So the first and our main topic today, I want to talk about, it's a theory that comes from the original trilogy. And so like many of you listening, probably if you played through Mass Effect 3, you were maybe kind of, I don't know, like maybe a little disappointed with how it all ended, because kind of one of the greatest aspects of these games was that your choices mattered and had an impact. Even like game to game, they had an impact.
Right.
So at the end of Mass Effect 3, just for a sum up of, little refresher, you are posed with 3 choices on how to defeat or succumb or whatever to the Reaper invasion that has happened in our galaxy. And so you're given 3 choices, you make your choice, but ultimately none of the choices you made leading up to that mattered, because almost everyone either dies, you die, the galaxy is wiped out. That it was a big letdown.
Yeah, I remember playing the first Mass Effect game, and after I beat it maybe 2 or 3 times already, I went to the internet to see what other options were available. I usually chose the Paragon side, so could I maybe do something really cool with Renegade? For the Mass Effect 1, that isn't the case. But for Mass Effect 2, and I think for Mass Effect 3, you can do some really cool options in the Renegade that aren't available if you're Paragon. Anyway, getting to the end of Mass Effect 1 and having to, are you going to kill the council or are you going to save the council, and having all of these options open to you, I thought it really was going to have a lasting effect, from Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, because you
defend the council.
Yeah, because if you defend the council and then Mass Effect 2, they're very grateful to you that you saved them, or as an opposed, you killed them and you've elevated humanity, but then alien races don't like you as much. They think you are self-serving.
Right.
So that's why when you're going into Mass Effect 3, you're like, oh, great, the end. It's like a not great boss battle with the elusive man. And then you have these 3 basically impossible choices of that nothing you did leading up to that matters. And in the end, like, it didn't really matter what choice you made at the end, because they were all terrible choices. And of course, BioWare, I just want to say, as a game designer, it's hard. You never know what kind of reaction people will get. And super kudos to them that they listened and tried to make it right, that they put out some epilogue which was great. And it kind of made me feel a little bit, and then the Citadel DLC, which is really good, which is a really true goodbye to your companions. Some of them you've had for 3 games. So good job, BioWare. But almost immediately after Mass Effect 3 came out, the Mass Effect forums exploded with this theory, and it's probably the biggest theory in the Mass Effect universe, and this is the indoctrination theory. So the indoctrination theory is really a labor of love from thousands upon thousands of fans. It's 812 pages on the forums. So think about how many comments that is, really. So the theory is...
And you, of course, printed them all out and read every
I did. I read every single comment. That's why I'm not reading off a list of names, because there was just so many.
Yeah, we do our due diligence here.
Yes, we do. So whoever originally came up with the indoctrination theory, good job. But this was also from months of people talking back and forth and formulating this all together. So that's really cool, too, of the fan base really came together to make this theory seem legit, and it really does. So let me break it down for you a little bit. as I've mentioned, the Reapers were like an unbeatable force. Like we were losing the war, things were terrible. And BioWare kind of wrote themselves into a bit of a hole of like, okay, how do we get out of this and still get to make games, like games that happen in the Mass Effect universe? So, and that it makes sort of sense in the world. So the theory is that essentially Shepard was indoctrinated for basically the entirety of Mass Effect 3. And so the some of the evidence that the fans pointed to was that we'd already seen sort of a human, quote unquote, Reaper, that we know that humans are pretty easily susceptible to indoctrination and that they can be controlled without knowing they're being controlled. If you played the Arrival DLC that came out with Mass Effect 2, which is a great DLC, by the way, it's harrowing. We see that Shepard touches some Reaper artifacts and basically is there when the Reapers come through from dark space into our solar system. And so that's, I mean, it makes some sense. And there's some other evidence, like the child that we keep seeing in Mass Effect 3 that nobody else like sees or pays attention to, or like is sad that it dies in that shuttle crash.
Sure, right. Yeah, I like to think that child is perhaps Shepard's subconscious fighting against the indoctrination. If we're going with the indoctrination theory, which I love, I think that works really well.
Yeah, because we did see the child, like that it's the avatar of the Catalyst later at the end of Mass Effect 3. So as a reminder, the Catalyst was the Citadel, that we had to drive the Citadel basically to go with all of that big contraption machine that we were making to fight the Reapers. And so this avatar Vancouver child, I like to call him Vancouver child, gives you 3 choices essentially at the end of Mass Effect 3. So your choices were, you could either choose to side with the Reapers. And so if you follow the indoctrination theory, that would be Shepard is fully giving into the indoctrination and just kind of allowing the genocide of an entire galaxy. Bad choice.
Yeah, not the best choice. The whole scene feels a lot to me like Neo when he's talking to, I think it's the architect in this scenario. And he's saying, well, so are you going to go back to the code? And, we get to reset the cycle, which would be giving into the Reapers, full indoctrination. Or are you going to like, fight and, try and defend the pitiful human race, And then that's what you do. And you end up winning and, fuck you, everybody else. So, yeah.
So then your second choice would be synthesis. So the Reapers would just indoctrinate everyone, and that Shepard would just sort of allow for that because they're also indoctrinated. And they're like, this is fine. I feel great. Everyone should feel like this. Like, okay, great. Not a great choice.
Not a great choice.
And then your final choice is to destroy the Reapers, but then you also destroy all of the mass relays. And that would be Shepard freeing themselves from the indoctrination. So what really caught my eye about the indoctrination theory, aside from the fact that it's very well thought out, is when I played through the game the second time and I chose to destroy the Reapers. I don't remember what I chose the first. I think I chose it both times, and I just went back and did a few more tweaks. You choose to destroy the Reapers, and if you sit there through the credits, because all the choices, you die. They tell you that you will have to die for all these choices to happen. So you're sitting there, you're crying at the end of Mass Effect 3, like how do this happen? And then at the end of the credits, you see Shepard's face, like from the nose down, and they like wake up, like that they're not dead. Of that. That's the waking up of not being indoctrinated anymore. And so the theory, if you want to really go down the rabbit hole of was any of it real, of if Shepard was indoctrinated, maybe she or he was just on a planet somewhere after touching these Reaper artifacts and just saw what the Reapers wanted them to see, and after throwing off indoctrination, realizing that none of it happened.
Could be.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really interesting if at the very moment that Shepard in Mass Effect 1 pushes your teammate, I don't remember, I think it's going to be Caden or Ashley, out of the way, and then you get hit by this Prothean artifact.
Oh, in the first one.
In the very first one. It'd be interesting if even that was linked to the Reapers, because we know that there is some sort of link between the awakening of these artifacts and then the coming of the Reapers. It's every 50,000 years, and that's when we sort of, we were discovering these things. So it'd be interesting if that was the point when the seed was planted, because even Saren, he gets, mind melted.
Yeah. I thought of that too, actually, could Shepard have been indoctrinated the entire series? So the real double-edged sword of this indoctrination theory is this: if Shepard was indoctrinated the whole time and basically, or even just the last game, the choices that you made still didn't fucking matter.
Very true.
So it's kind of like
and you still die.
Yeah, and you still die. But this is the hope of going into Mass Effect Andromeda, of that, hopefully that they've learned their lesson of, if you want to give us choices, they have to matter through a series. But it also, we're going to talk a little bit more about Mass Effect Andromeda in a minute, but ultimately it doesn't matter, because whether this theory is true or not, because by the time Andromeda happens, they won't even know.
Yeah, the spaceship, the Ark, takes what, 7,000 years or something?
600 years.
All right, 600 years. Even so, nobody's going to be alive. Yeah. All the decisions we made don't make a difference. So.
Yeah. So it's sort of sad, but okay, this was a good theory. I'm glad that I discovered it. So listeners, please tweet at us what you think about this indoctrination theory. I'm really curious, especially super fans like us. Whether or not you believe this theory, what you think about the theory, what you think maybe happened if you don't believe in this theory. Meanwhile, we will move on to one of my favorite segments, Chaos Theory. So for new listeners and old as well, these are theories that have either already been proven, usually they're formulated really early, like before we have a lot of information, or they're just nonsense theories, which are also kind of fun, but ultimately, please stop, because they are nonsense. So the first one we want to talk about is that Andromeda takes place concurrently with the original trilogy.
It's part of the same universe.
But time-wise.
That we know for a fact that's pretty much not the case.
Yeah, yes and no. So if you go to their Andromeda website, it's very fun. You get to pretend that you are also in the Mass Effect or the Andromeda Initiative. It's very fun. So they lay out their timeline pretty boldly, blatantly. The ship leaves in 2185, which is 2 years after the events of Mass Effect 1 and just after the conclusion of Mass Effect 2. So the Ark and all of its beings have already left before the Reapers get here, or just before the Reapers get here.
Right.
So if you know anything about space and you know anything about faster than light travel, the Andromeda Galaxy is what, 2.5 million light years away?
It's a long ways away.
It's a long ways away. So that's why even with the mass relays and which we're going to talk about a little bit later too, are there mass relays in the Andromeda Galaxy?
Well, if there was mass relays connecting the two galaxies, obviously they would have just taken the Ark through the...
Yes.
Right. But we'll get to it.
Because they probably didn't. That's why it still took like 700 years for them to travel 2.5 million light years. So that's why we were saying even after Mass Effect 3, the people on the Ark would have no way of knowing what happened to the people that they left behind.
Yeah, presumably they're also in cryostasis, until they get to Andromeda.
So by the time they even get there, the series itself is long over.
Right.
And if most of the choices pretty bad, So it could be that you chose to have the Reapers kill everyone. So 600 years, everyone that they know are already dead anyway, because it's 600 years. Unless you're an Asari, I suppose, or a Krogan. You live a lot
Good
longer.
point. Very good point.
So that theory is true, but also not so true.
Right.
Right.
So next, we're going to talk about something I think is pretty bold. This is a pretty bold statement out there.
I think it's pretty dumb.
It's pretty okay. That's a nicer way of saying it. Is the Rider family connected to Shepard? For example, are the Rider twins, or is the father of the Rider twins Shepard's child? I think that's a bold claim to make. You would have to have some evidence to back that up. Is there any out there? Did you find?
No.
Yeah,
it's actually a really silly theory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no offense, but this was probably one that very early in the announcing of Andromeda, they're like, oh man, what if the twins are Shepard's kid? And it's also one of those, like, you gotta let it go. Sometimes you just gotta let a series go. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we know now that the Rider twins, boy and a girl, are the children of Alex Rider.
Who's Alex Rider?
Let me tell you all about it.
Please do.
If you read the books, or if you've read some of the comics, or just wiki it, you'll know that Alex Rider was actually one of the original crew members that went with John Grissom's ship through the mass relay and launched the first contact war. And he was basically one of the original space explorers when we finally made it out into space to get to the mass relay on Mars. So
and we encountered the Turians on that first contact war.
Yes. So, but that happened. The first contact war was Shepard was not even born or would have been a child. Mm-hmm. So no, unless Shepard knew Alex Rider and you played only as the girl, and then she somehow got pregnant in between saving the galaxy.
Well, what if Guy Shepard and Alex Rider were a couple and then maybe adopted or something? Or hey, it's also the future. Maybe they did some weird cloning thing.
Some genetics, some real genetic manipulation. Yeah. That's true. That's a good
think
point.
I've gone down this route before. I'm really fascinated
with male adoption.
I guess so. Yeah. Yes. Anyway.
So I'm sorry to say that this theory is pretty busted. I mean, unless it ends up like that Shepard and Alex Rider were distant cousins or something, like Rider was
Don't be lame.
Shepard's uncle or something, no, sorry. Just we're moving on in the series, and you guys should too. Sorry.
Yeah, let's move on.
This is another quite interesting theory. That has to do with Andromeda. So they've been pretty scarce on the detail unless you watch a lot of the gameplay trailers that they've been putting out. We haven't, because we want to enjoy the series organically. But they have revealed a couple of the new races that we will encounter in Andromeda. So we're familiar with the ones that we've encountered in the Milky Way. Human, obviously. Turian, which is what Garrus was. Solarian, more in Solus. Krogan, Grunt and Rex, always fun, always up for a party. And Asari, beautiful, blue.
Kind of hard to miss
hard to miss the tentacles.
And their booties.
Yeah, and the booties.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's Quarians, and there's a few other, Hanar, Drell, Volus, the Batarian, the Geth. There's a few others. So there's going to be some crew members on the Ark that are of those races, because it's not just humans trying to find a new home world. It's people from the Milky Way galaxy. Mm-hmm. So one of the races that was revealed that we'll encounter in Andromeda is called the Remnant.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of talk about the Remnant. I think the biggest theory out there is that the Remnants are Protheans.
Which, again, I mean, it's just sort of, that would be really cool.
That would be cool.
It's sort of a cool reveal if they were.
Like some survived by fleeing to the Andromeda system, just as we are doing.
Yes. So, and I mean, the Protheans were an advanced race. They couldn't defeat the Reapers, but that's okay. Neither could we, really. Sorry, Protheans. So The Protheans, though, had, I think, a better understanding of what the Citadel was and what the mass relays were. They didn't build them; that was the Reapers, but they had them for much longer than we did. So perhaps, yeah, that they used the Citadel dormant relay to escape out into dark space, where the Reapers kind of hide out for a little bit, and then traversed to the Andromeda Galaxy. If you played with Javik, the Prothean remnant.
Was he a DLC? Was Javik DLC?
I think he was a DLC.
Okay.
Which just seems really silly because he's like kind of important to the whole. Maybe it was like a free DLC. I'm not sure. But we did see that they had pretty advanced cryo even then, 50,000 years from ours. So maybe they stashed a couple or a bunch on a ship.
For a rainy day.
Just stashed them.
Yeah, stashed a couple Protheans away.
So the only kind of caveat to all this is that in the wiki, the remnants are listed as a synthetic race, kind of much like the Geth.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? I mean, what do you think could have happened to them that maybe now they're computers or robots?
It's a fascinating topic of discussion that is going to be all revealed, in just one day if you're listening when this airs. But I like to think that maybe there's something left over from a previous race that had to abandon their homeworld or leave the system, much like the Quarian have the Geth. They created the Geth, and then once the Geth became smart enough, they overtook the Quarian, and the Quarian had to leave their homeworld. So it might be interesting to see if the Remnant or something like that. They may also be something like the Keepers on the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
So the Keepers were something, they were once completely organic from my understanding. And then the Reapers got, they mind fucked them and they became theirs, and then they did their bidding. And so maybe this is something similar where they could be controlled by the Reapers who are chilling in dark space, or maybe they were left over from a Reaper invasion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, something happened, and these are the remnants. So
yeah, it's just it sounds like a really cool name.
It does,
you know, and maybe if they are the Protheans in the cryo, maybe something went wrong and they were kind of, they
had to be upgraded.
Yeah, like they had to be upgraded of like maybe they weren't meant to live this long, but they still needed to fight, or they still needed to find out what happened, and they kind of started to modify themselves.
I will survive.
Yeah.
hey.
So we will see. I am very curious about them. They are one of 3 new races that we know about.
Yeah, the other 2, let's talk about them since we're on the topic of new races. There's also the Ket and the Angara. I like the Angara. Let's talk about the Angara first.
Right.
They're big. They're kind of intimidating.
Yeah, they're like bluey purple, I think.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a variety of different colors. Kind of like the Asari can be blue to like a light violet almost color.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the same sort of shading, I would imagine.
Yeah. We haven't seen too much of them. I think we just caught a really small glimpse in some of the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially they're in the wiki. The wiki is quite good, but not super reliable. So don't take everything that we say based on the wiki as fact. That they are a peaceful people, much like, the Asari has war. We all have war. So, but they're sort of like a diplomatic race, what they appear to be. And we also get to have one as our companion.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll definitely learn more about them and their species and their culture via our companion.
Yeah. And I also heard recently, and I don't know if you heard this yet, Emily, but the Angara sort of wear their emotions on their sleeve.
Oh, that's cute.
So if they're very happy or very excited, they might, be extra jovial. They might, like push you in the chest, like, haha, isn't that great? But on the same token, if they're really angry, maybe they'll hit you. If they're really sad, maybe they're going to break down in tears, or they need a hug or something.
Oh my goodness.
So be very aware of the emotions of the Angara. And I think that'll help you in your relationship with them.
Cool.
Yeah.
The other race is the Ket, which we have seen much more of in the trailers. They are the kind of dudes that wear their bones on the outside of their faces.
Yeah, I think they're the bad guys.
Yeah, they're definitely being positioned as like the big bad guy.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, they are going to be the Jaws And then I have a feeling of the story, of this video game, they're going to be Jaws, the antagonist. But then I have a feeling there's going to be a bigger Jaws. And we're going to have to work with the cat.
Bigger Jaws.
For this common enemy, which is bigger Jaws.
I guess we shall see.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
I don't want to hate on the cat just yet, bones on the outside. That's kind of a cool thing.
Kind of a cool thing.
So
the only other things we really know about them is that they are an extremely hostile group, at least towards us, the Pathfinders, that their leader is called the Archon, which we see him. He's kind of he has the one with the ring sort of around his head, like a collar almost. But that is really it.
That's about it.
The only other thing that we know is that they want to rule the Andromeda galaxy, or at least the Meridian system, I believe.
Right.
Meridian.
And then we show up and we're like, hey, buddy, same.
Yeah. So, and I get it. We are essentially...
We're the aliens.
We're the aliens.
Guys, isn't that crazy? We're going to be the aliens invading another system.
Yeah. So no wonder they're kind of mad at us. Like if they came to our solar system, would be like, F you, get out.
Yeah.
So
that's the topic of every other space film ever.
Of F you, get out. This is our home.
Right.
So speaking of which, humans are not the only ones on the Ark. But, that's us, the main characters. We see 3 human companions at least. I just kind of have to assume that the Ark leadership is made up of at least partly humans, if not all humans. And humans, I love them. I love us. But we are not super great when it comes to dealing with stuff we don't understand.
Yeah, or sharing.
Yeah. I mean, every other sci-fi movie, it's if we find something we don't like or don't understand, we're like, let's murder it.
Can we shoot it?
Yeah. Can we blow it up?
Right.
So do you think that we, particularly humans, but again, I mean, the Asari, the Turians, they're not unwarlike people. They have still caused wars and genocides. Do you think we are a threat to the Andromeda galaxy?
Absolutely.
I mean, we already basically ruined our own galaxy by allowing the Reapers to come in, or, at least alerting them to our presence or succumbing to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, even on our own planet, we are quite a threat to our own planet, So, I think I want to root for us, but at the same time, I don't want us to go to the Andromeda system, the Andromeda galaxy, and just start, putting up oil refineries and, just taking without any regard to what we're doing to that system and how we're treating the other life. I mean, I want to have happy space monkeys. I want to have happy space hamsters.
Yay!
Yeah, and
Steve the space hamster.
We always name our space hamster Steve.
That's from Mass Effect 2. If you can go to the Citadel and get a space hamster.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, that's why it's my favorite game.
Yeah. Because of the space. That's why when we pre-ordered, I got the deluxe edition specifically because it comes with the space monkey.
Yeah. And
I mean, for the game too, but space monkey.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't actually come to our door and we get the actual space
No,
monkey.
I wish that
I misread
that. I did too. Dang it.
All
I
right.
wish. Anyways, that'd be so cute.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're
a threat.
We are a threat, definitely. And I think it's kind of one of those, we need a home. We are so far from our original homes, not just humans, Turians, Krogans. And if we don't find planets that are suitable to us, our civilizations will die. Well,
we can do the flotilla like the Quarians did, but then that's why they're in the masks and stuff, is because they didn't have a home where their immune systems could bolster and strengthen.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the Ark will sustain us, I'm sure, for some time, but it's not a permanent solution. So it's kind of one of those, you want us to win, but you don't want it to be at the cost of some other species. I mean, at least I hope so. If you play these games and you're really mean about it, I guess, but I am interested to see. That's one of my favorite things about Star Trek, is that it's really about understanding other cultures and being, empathetic to them and fair. And so I think a lot of humanity, we haven't been super fair to the people whose land that we've come across And they have already been there, and we're just coming there. So it'll definitely be. But I think BioWare has always treated these kinds of things quite delicately.
Absolutely.
And they're really good at writing characters and situations that are very inclusive, and especially with their romances.
Except for Ashley.
Ashley, space racism.
She's a xenophobe.
She is. So I hope that we can, as humans, we have evolved in the 600 years we were in cryo, and that we can at least share a planet, or find one that is fully our own.
Man, I think I killed Ashley every single time.
I think I did too.
Except for the first time. She was my love interest the first time, before I knew.
About the space racism.
Oh man, Ashley.
So.
All right. Well, this was good. This was all good. Do we have any more?
We do. We have a couple more.
Okay, let's wrap these up.
Okay, so got two more theories I want to talk about. Just because it's just my curiosity of like logistics. The first one's logistics only. Of, are there mass relays in the Andromeda galaxy?
Right, and that's hard to say. I mean, unless the Mass Effect relays operate only within the galaxy, then I can see that working. So then only within the Andromeda galaxy, you can use those relays. But the Andromeda relays are not compatible with the Milky Way galaxy relays. Right? So if that's the case, I totally buy it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool for us to be able to move around the Andromeda galaxy via the relays, because then we get to see more. If it's just like we're in one system, let's explore this system and then jump to the next system and explore this system. I mean, that seemed a little tedious. I like the idea of being able to jump between systems like we had in the first 3 games in the trilogy.
And I think, it's more of a bigger question, because it was the Reapers who originally built the mass relays. So were the Reapers only exclusive to the Milky Way galaxy? That's where we've only seen them or heard them speak about species in that galaxy. But they are a pretty advanced robotic armada. Perhaps they had also explored other galaxies and wiped out other galaxies. So the other thing, we did see in one of the trailers, now that I'm thinking about it, around the Ark, there was this kind of circular spherical thing, and we were
man-made device.
Yeah, definitely. And so we, as part of the ship, and so we were kind of curious what that might have been. I said maybe it was a power source
or a faster than light travel device.
Yeah, so maybe that is the solution to having no mass relays, is that the Ark is equipped with a faster than light sort of booster, of that we can still see a lot of the galaxies are very big. If you don't know, they're quite vast areas of space. It would be really, really hard to get around without something, what if it takes years to get from system to system, hundreds of years to get from system to system? If you explore a system and there's no planet there, you have to wait another 100 years to go to another system and look for a viable planet.
Right, kind of like Interstellar.
Yeah.
They only had so many options to pick. They only could go to so many places before time was going to run out.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already sensing sort of the desperation of this game. Like, I think that even more than a Reaper-like force, that desperation of, oh my God, what if we don't find something?
Wouldn't it be awful if during the course of the game, if you take too long, then part of your cryogenic population starts to die off?
Oh my God.
Like you don't get enough power for the Ark, and so half your population dies.
What is this, Fable? Jeez.
Oh, Fable 3, where we had
Fable 3, where they just effed you. Like, oh my God.
Let's not even go there right now.
Let's not even talk about that. So the last theory I want to talk about is, and we kind of touched on it a little bit when we talked about indoctrination and the Reapers, is this 50,000 year cycle theory. And so this was, I'm not sure if it was first perpetuated by them or at least just kind of put out there by a Redditor called Peter Gott. Not you.
No, it's not you. Me, but maybe he got me.
Maybe he got you. So the theory is that every 50,000 years, the Reapers would come through the Citadel and wipe out the races of the Milky Way. They talk about it.
Yeah.
They say it.
Yeah.
The timeline is correct that the Protheans were wiped out 50,000 years ago. We're not sure what the civilization was before them. But because Shepard was able to delay them in the first game, and then ultimately to, if you made the correct choice, in my mind, at Mass Effect 3, to destroy them, the cycle is broken now. And that's kind of that's
the upside to defeating or winning all 3 games,
Right.
going through all of them is like, yeah, I did it. I'm dead. And, society is now in sort of disarray because we can't communicate or, travel to each other, but I did it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's one of those theories too of you just kind of have to bank, like, was every single Reaper ever in the Milky Way galaxy at the same time and they're all destroyed? I mean, the smart bet, and they're pretty smart, is like leave some dudes behind for another day,
This is true.
So the cycle at least is broken in that it's not every 50,000 years on the dot. But then again, it might not have been anyway because Javik tells us that the Reapers and the Protheans fought for like 400 years.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the cycle was already broken and this theory may be also busted. It was sort of an interesting thing of that the cycles of the universe is an interesting topic.
Absolutely.
Of that. And especially on our planet, we know, we all learned about the dinosaurs, the mass extinction of dinosaurs, the mass extinction before that, and that there is maybe a mass extinction incoming, of that the cycles of our planet and our universe are sort of synced up.
Indeed.
Well, this was great.
This was fun. There's so many theories.
I feel like we talked about a lot of dark things.
We did, unfortunately. But I mean, hey, that's the reality of it. And while you're playing, it's a lot of fun. You get to shoot bad guys in the face and stuff.
True.
But yeah, these are serious issues. And that's the best thing I think about BioWare, is that they really get to the root of our hopes and desires and our fears through these games.
Mm-hmm.
And you can play it in a safe environment, and you can shoot people in the face at the same time, and you can romance totally fuckable aliens. Oh, we didn't do enough of the
Cards Against Humanity cards.
Yes.
We didn't.
No, we did not. All right, you start the outro.
Well, if you liked this podcast, please keep listening. We're going to keep doing it. You can find us, as always, on the There Network.
That's THERE.
Yes. Along with a ton of other amazing podcasts, Wednesday in Westeros, The Todd and Taylor Show, Back to the 80s, a lot of great podcasts. So make sure you can subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and also SoundCloud. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at that Emily Kelly.
And I'm at Screenwriter.
We didn't talk a lot about we didn't talk about every single Mass Effect fan theory. So if you have some favorites that we've missed, or if you have some comments on the ones that we covered, please at us. We love to hear from you guys. As well as if you have some ideas for our next show, we're always looking for great ideas from the fans and the listeners.
Could be Wonder Woman. It could be from the Marvel Universe. It could be
more video games.
Any of those.
We love to talk about it all.
We like the sounds of our own voices.
We do, obviously. And just a reminder, Mass Effect will be out March 21st, 2017. That is tomorrow if you're listening right on Monday. It's available for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
We'll be getting ours on PC.
We will.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. And as always, we will see you guys in the next one.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.